Good morning, second grade. Today we are going to be working on drawing quadrilaterals and parallel lines. So if you don't know what those things are right now, I'll be showing you throughout the lesson today. You should know what quadrilaterals are because we've been learning about those the past couple days. That's a four-sided shape, but there's a bunch of different types. So that's what we're going to be figuring out today. So look at this index card. How many angles does it have? I'm going to move myself over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This index card has 4 angles. Look at all these other shapes on this chart that have 4 sides and 4 angles. They all look different. Here are some more. 4 sides and 4 angles on all of these shapes. Even though they all have 4 sides and 4 angles, they don't look the same. These are all different types of quadrilaterals. How are the angles on this shape different than the angles on this index card? So look at these angles carefully and look at this angle or these angles. How are they different? Think about it. The ones on the index card are all the same. That's what I thought of. The one on the index card are also all shaped in an L. So if I'm looking at an index card, if I'm looking at this index card here that I have, they're all shaped in an L. So I could draw the letter L and it would match this index card. We call angles on our index card square corners, or you may have heard me call them in the past 90-degree angles, or right angles. Today we're going to use this word square corners. If you remember me saying right angles, you can always be thinking about that as well. Sorry. So let's look at our shapes again, and we're going to circle the ones that have square corners or right angles. So when I look at these shapes, I noticed that this shape has 4 right angles, and this shape has 4 right angles. I think I missed one though. Does anyone see another one? Shout it out if you do. I see another one, just one, on this shape over here. That looks like a perfect L to me. Oh, and so does this other side. The top angles do not, so I'm going to circle those. This one was close, but I can see that this goes out a little bit. It's not perfectly straight. These look like they're turned a little bit. So yeah, those are our only right angles or square angles. This shape, and this shape. Okay, let's use our index cards as a tool to help us draw quadrilaterals with 1 square corner. If you don't have an index card, don't worry. You can also use a piece of paper. All regular pieces of paper have square corners or right angles on each edge. So grab a piece of paper if you don't have an index card. Grab an index card if you have one. If you have a ruler at home today, also grab that. We can be using it to draw these shapes. If you don't have a ruler, a different straight edge will work. So I'm going to be showing you guys what that looks like with a piece of paper. If you have a book that's going to help you, do that. Whatever you've been using to draw your shapes with a straight edge, I want you to practice that today during this lesson. Not drawing on the iPad. I want you to actually be drawing on the paper. All right, so we're sectioning our paper into 4 parts, just like we did yesterday. So I'm going to show you guys that. So I'm going to be using this large piece of green paper to draw on today, so you guys can see the difference between the green paper and the tools I'm using, because those are also white. I didn't want to do white on white. It would be hard to see what I was doing. So I just folded this once in half, and then I folded it again. So I should have this, and then when you open it up, you have 4 parts. We're going to be using both sides today. All right. Oops. All right, so once we have our paper into sections, draw a square corner using your index card or that other piece of paper as your guide. Then use a straight edge on your card to draw 2 more lines to complete your quadrilateral. So watch me do this before we move on. And then you can try it. All right, I'm going to turn my screen down. Hope you guys can see it. I'm going to use this index card or even a piece of paper. You can see with the piece of paper. I'm going to do this bottom right here, making sure it's in my box. I'm going to use this square corner to draw 2 sides of my quadrilateral. 1, so I'm going right along it. And 2, almost like tracing the edge of the paper. And then when I pull it off, it looks like that. And then you can draw whatever sides you want to finish it. Mine are going to be, I'll use my straight edge. If I have a ruler, I can do that. I'm going to do one going up a little bit this way. And I'm going to go a little bit longer, and then one going down this way. So I didn't want the other ones to be square angles. So now I have a quadrilateral with one square corner, and the other angles are not square corners. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides in total. So I want you to pause now, use your piece of paper or your index card, whichever one you want to use, to trace a square corner and then add 2 more sides to it so it has 4 sides in total. Make your quadrilateral now. Press play when you're ready. Okay, so here's what it could have looked like. Mine looked a little bit different than this one, but here's an option. This is one square corner and then your 2 other sides. So if you don't have this right now, make sure you stop and create your quadrilateral. Okay, now we're going to do something a little bit different. I want you to place your ruler vertically or your paper edge vertically in the next section on your paper and use your centimeter ruler to draw one straight line. Remember, vertically means up and down, so watch me. Okay, if you have a ruler, you can just draw your ruler and we're going to draw an up and down line just like that. Remember, if you don't have a ruler, you can use your index card or we can use our piece of paper. So for the piece of paper, let's draw that. Okay. So one line, I drew it vertically down, so now I have one line on my paper. Please do that. Press play when you are ready. All right, so it should look something like this. Now, without moving your ruler, if you used a ruler, use the opposite edge to draw a second straight line of any length. Let's watch me do this first now so you guys can see it. So, if I was using the ruler, I would take my ruler. So if you've got a ruler, you can do it this way. So line it up right on that line that you had. And then you're just going to draw another line on this other edge of the ruler. So they should be perfectly lined up. So I would just take this and draw another line like this. Now, if you don't have a ruler, we can do this with paper too. So I'm just going to kind of fold my paper until it is the width of the ruler. So fold once, fold twice. So now I have a little bit, it's a little bit thicker than a ruler, so I'm going to fold 3 times. I'm being really careful with my fold so it's still really straight. I want these lines to be the same. I don't want them to be crooked. So now I'm going to place my ruler down, or my paper down that I've kind of turned into a ruler, and I'm going to draw another line on the other side. So I have one line on this side and one line on this side. So it should look like that, 2 lines. Same thing if you had a ruler. You should have one line here, one line here. Should look pretty similar. Pause now to do that and press play when you are ready. What do you notice about these 2 lines? You could have said one is shorter than the other, they are the same distance apart, and the lines never come closer together or get further away. So what that means is they never get closer, the 2 lines never angle towards each other, they're always going straight up and down, so they're never really closer to each other. If we kept drawing these lines or used a really long ruler and kept going all the way up and all the way down, these lines would never touch or cross. We call these parallel lines. Let's write that down. I'm going to write it below my 2 lines. I'm just going to write parallel lines. I want to make sure I write that down so I remember that vocabulary word. We're going to be using that word a lot today. So lines that never touch are called parallel lines. Look at the word parallel. It has 2 L's in the middle of the word. They will never touch. So that's a good way to help us remember what a parallel line is. Those 2 L's, if they kept going on forever and ever, they would never touch. All right, in the next section of your paper, position your ruler or paper in different ways. Horizontally or diagonally, I want you to practice making more pairs of parallel lines. Pause and do that now. So I drew a couple more parallel lines. Here's a set of parallel lines. Here's a set of parallel lines, and here is a set of parallel lines. These 2 lines will never cross, nor will those or those. If they kept going on and on forever, they would never cross. Make sure your lines look something like that. The shape we're going to make is a trapezoid. So let's read that word together. trapezoid. Trapezoids have at least one pair of parallel lines. So if we look at these shapes, these two lines will never touch if they keep going, but those two will. So they don't have two sets of parallel lines, just one pair of parallel lines. These two lines are parallel and these two. So this one has two, but remember trapezoids just need to have one, so we can still call that a trapezoid. And same with the shape. These two lines will never touch and those two lines will never touch. So those have two sets of parallel lines. We're going to draw a trapezoid that looks a little bit like this one. So watch me. So I'm going to use this ruler that I made and I'm going to draw two parallel lines. So I'm going to start on this one. I'm just going to little mark it. I want to start there. I'm going to go to the end. And then I want to start the next line in a different spot. I don't want to start it at the exact same spot. I want it to be a little bit different. So those are my two lines to start. So they're kind of different here and different here. But these two lines, if they keep going, will never ever touch. Now all I have to do is connect my lines. So I'm going to connect it here. And you know what? I want this line to be longer. I'm going to make this a different trapezoid. Okay, so now I'm going to connect these lines here. Okay, so there's my trapezoid. And I'm going to write that word trapezoid to help me remember. Trapezoid. That's a vocabulary word too that we're going to want to know. So my trapezoids have at least one pair of parallel lines. These lines are not parallel because if they kept going, they would bump into each other. These two lines, if they kept going, they would never touch. So this is a trapezoid. If you want to write one pair of parallel lines below where it says trapezoid, that will help you remember what a trapezoid is. This shape is a parallelogram. A parallelogram is different than a trapezoid because it has two pairs of parallel lines. So this set of lines is parallel, they will never touch each other, and this set of lines is parallel. They will never touch each other. Let's draw it. I just flipped my paper over, so I'm on the back. I'm going to draw in this corner up here. I'm just going to mark on my ruler maybe a beginning and an end mark. If you're doing this on a regular ruler, you can use 8 centimeters. So 0 to 8 and then 2 to 8. All right, so I'm just going to draw my line from here to here. So that's my first line. Now I want to make sure that the second line is parallel. So I'm just going to scooch it down, but I'm going to scooch it over a little bit. So it's going to be parallel, so where if it keeps going, it would never touch. I'm just going to scooch it over a tiny bit. So there are my two parallel lines. Now I'm going to connect it. Connect, connect. So I just drew a parallelogram. These two lines will never touch each other. And maybe I'll highlight those in pink. These two lines will never touch. If they keep going on forever and ever, they would never touch. And let me get another color to highlight the other lines. Let's use orange. And these two lines, if they kept going on and on forever, they would never touch. That's a parallelogram. I'll write that below so I remember. Parallelogram. Two lines, two sets of lines that will never touch. I'm going to go ahead and show you these last couple shapes pretty quickly, but I do want you to take the time to draw them. We don't have a lot of time left in the video because I only get 15 minutes to record, so I'm going to go quick here. This last shape is a shape you already know. It is a rectangle. Rectangles have two sets of parallel lines, so they are a parallelogram, but the difference between rectangles and regular parallelograms is that they have all square corners. So make sure when you are drawing your rectangle that they have all square corners. Pause now to draw your rectangle. Press play when you're ready to see the next shape. All right, the next shape that we are going to look at is a square. A square is really similar to, it is a type of rectangle. A square is just like a rectangle. It has two sets of parallel lines. It has all square corners, but the only difference between a rectangle and a square is that all of these corners are square corners. A square has square corners. Makes sense, right? Pause now to draw your square. Press play when you're ready. The shape you're going to draw today is a rhombus. A rhombus is a parallelogram because it has two sets of parallel lines. It's similar to a square because all the sides are equal, but it doesn't have to have square corners. So check this shape out and draw your rhombus and then press play when you're ready to see your work today. So here is your work for today that you guys are going to be doing. You're going to be using that ruler to draw parallel lines that are the same length. Here you're going to be tracing the parallel lines, so kind of like I did with the parallelogram where I traced them in blue and, in orange and pink. So you can trace the sets of parallel lines. And lastly, you're going to draw a parallelogram with no square corners. That's all today. Have fun, guys, and reach out with any questions.